Hello, everybody. My name is Ulfgarður, and welcome back to Yvardsaga. Happy Ostara, in the old Nordic tradition, it's the equivalent of Easter, I suppose. It's the spring equinox and officially the start of spring. So happy spring. I've been in the garden most of the day, and when I wasn't, I was doing garden-related things that happen inside, like organizing my seeds. So is good time. So if I'm a little tired and slow on the draw today, that'd be why. But it's been a very good day. So I hope even uh if you don't do anything special on the equinox, if that's not a day you care about, I hope you still have a good day no matter what. But yeah, that's where we're at. Pez in the stream warm up VC discussion has already cursed the stream. Uh Not the stream, but she's cursed the campaign. And I will not elaborate further. But she gave them knowledge that I forgot she enjoys imparting that just it does something. But I hope everybody's having a good day. I'm also still getting used to daylight savings, so it's weird that there's light coming in the window when I'm starting stream. My brain still says it should be pitch black outside. Um, but yeah, thanks for being patient and joining us a day late. Sorry we couldn't play yesterday. The weather didn't end up knocking our power out at all, but the last time it came through like that, we were without power for like 4 hours, and it went out right at like 6:30, so I didn't want to risk that last night. So thank you very much. Um, yeah, I'll do our recap of events here shortly when we have everybody on VC, just so you guys don't have to listen to me repeat myself. But yeah, big things happened last time. Some very interesting things happened. If you missed it, if you're watching this as a VOD, I would suggest go back and watch the other one first if you haven't been caught up. But you'll get the summary here to know what you need to know to move on, but it was really really good RP with the between the players last time. Besides a few bigger events happening, uh, there were some tensions between party members that were very well portrayed and very believably done to the point that Pez at the end had to impart a it's okay, me and Possum are actually friends. We're not actually mad at each other, but their characters were mad at each other, and they did a great job showing the tension. They're both all three of our players very good at that sort of thing. So it's good. I suggest checking it out. This is going to be, in my head, an intimidating session just to try and follow that up and keep that quality of gameplay sustained. Uh, but as long as I set the stage right, the players have all the room in the world to keep that going. So we'll see how we do. But let's go ahead and get them in here and get started since we're starting a couple minutes late, and we'll get things going. I'm just not firing on all of my appropriate cylinders this evening, so bear with me if a few things are a little slow on the draw tonight. Okay, let's see. Hello, friends. Oh no.
Hello.
Hello.
I log in to hear Pez giggling, and that's never a good sign.
It's
Oh,
fine.
Is it
you were
fine?
like 3 seconds too late.
That's generally my timing. Yeah.
Um, Pez, I'm sorry.
You'd better be. Hope you're rolling up a new character.
Oofda. Yeah. Uh, for the record, Pez and Possum are friends. They get along. The intense discussions last time were entirely in character, and it was very good.
I don't know about
Me
that.
Methinks he does protest too much.
Nah,
Fuck.
you're putting words in our mouths.
You got me. You got me busted. Well, everybody hyped? Everybody good? Ready?
In theory.
I guess.
Okay, so in recap, last time.
On Dragon Ball Z.
Excellent. I was hoping. I paused.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's very good. I was never a Dragon Ball Z person as a kid, but like I appreciate that voice and that reference. It's very good. Um, yes. So last time, a few, kind of vaguely important things happened. We learned that Varkon really likes opening tombs, apparently. And Cole ended up siding with him and opening that gold sarcophagus. And in doing so, you guys found that there was no dead body in there at all. It was all red honey, just filled like a weird bath full of stuff Nemo has read and here is sometimes used to preserve dead bodies. Uh, it was the cinnabar mineral that you guys have interacted with a few times now that Nemo smeared all over Ron, which is mercury sulfate, just mixed
She
with honey and
apologized.
poured in. That's true, she did. Um, but also inside the sarcophagus was the case you were sent here to find. And Cole very imaginatively summoned a mage hand and extracted it safely, which is good because there were dice rolls that happened if you tried to stick your hand in there of the painful variety. Uh, so good call on that. And as you were in the process of wiping it off so it was safe to handle with your physical appendages, and getting it taken over to a Yejier to put in her handy dandy bag of holding, uh, Shoko snatched it out of Cole's hand. Cole responded with literal fire, and a fight broke out, and blows were exchanged, but ultimately Shoko just noped out and just was moving too fast for you guys to be able to really follow. Uh, Particularly because Varkon tried to kind of go that way and slipped and fell and blocked that passageway in the north room that Ron's looking out of on the map. But you guys were able to restrain him, get him tied up, and interrogate him. And you learned a few things, one of which is Shoko would not come back for him, so he claimed, because she had what she came here to get, and that was more important. That was what was expected of her, and she would expect him to do the same and if their roles were reversed. And you guys believed him on that. Nemo tried to locate object on the artifact case to try and track down Shoko and realized Shoko is fucking Newman through those caverns. You don't know if there's actually a contiguous path out of here in that direction, but Shoko was moving faster through there than you guys were pretty certain you could. So, unless it's all dead ends and she has to literally come back through here to leave this place, uh, it, if I recall correctly, you guys kind of reached the assumption that you probably weren't going to be able to catch her. You could try and track her down. Ron did offer and mention that, but he did mention if she's flying the whole time, it's going to be really hard to do. But the main other piece of information you got out of Varkon was he doesn't know as much about this whole thing as Shoko does because her knowledge of what you were retrieving is not his field of expertise so much, but he's pretty sure it was a piece of a dead god, whatever that means. And he was making the case that the people they work for or are afraid of it falling into the wrong hands, and so they were trying to find it and secure it like defensively to be able to protect it. He didn't really have any other details on that came out. Whether or not he knew it or just was faking ignorance, we don't know because you guys discussed what to do with him for a while. Cole and Yejier had very different ideas of what was appropriate. Uh, whether you should kill him or let him go. But ultimately, he made the case of he has no reason to bother you down here, even if you cross paths again in the Everdark. And Yejier kind of informed Cole that among giants, that is very standard practice, even in like warfare. If someone surrenders, they just are done fighting. Like it's water under the bridge at that point. Um, so you guys ultimately ended up letting him go, and you remembered that the door to this room is open with a 10-minute time limit. You've already been in here for a few minutes. Yejier used climbing pythons jammed in to try and like force the door to stay open at least a little bit longer so you don't get closed in. But you're not entirely sure how much time those would buy you. But from here on out, it was just whatever else you want to do in this room. Before we move on, did I forget anything?
Yeah, a minor but
Oh,
important
yeah,
point.
yeah. The one thing I was going to mention at the end, I didn't, but you go first in case it's not the same thing I was thinking.
It is entirely not, unless you have been bothered by it since the moment you said it. It's a very persnickety thing, but I will be that guy. Cinnabar is mercury sulfide. Sulfate is a complex which involves sulfur and 4 oxygen
Fuck.
bonded. Sulfide is just contains sulfur. Cinnabar is mercury sulfide. It's a mercury and a sulfur atom. Thank you very much. I will be on my way.
When one of your players is a chemistry whiz by vocation, meanwhile, I have never taken a chemistry class in my life. It shows. But I do insist on things like that being accurate, so thank you for clarifying.
Pushes glasses. Actually,
I appreciate it. Um, oh, yeah, the other thing I was going to mention was Nemo apparently has been seeing things other people can't see in this room. She hasn't really elaborated, but she's referred to things as they, implying possibly more than one. And I know with that, Rad, you had sent me a message saying you had wanted to make a relevant skill check during this session for things and information. Uh,
Let me go back.
so feel free to do that now or later.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Character sheet. Are they the same?
I think
Yes.
so.
Yeah. Yeah, we go with religion. Hey.
Okay. Let me make sure I remember what you were trying to learn correctly. I'm pretty sure I do, but I forgot to peek at it before I made the point of having you roll it. Um, in short version, you don't know or like haven't been exposed to anything in particular as to why things are the way they are for you that you're trying to learn about or gain insight, but you're very confident that this isn't a thing you're just forgetting. It's a thing you have no reason to really know, but you can make a couple assumptions. Uh, One of those assumptions being that is an active choice and change made in order to be that way. Did that make sense? Like something would have deliberately wanted that to be the case, the way you're seeing things.
Okay.
So that's a level of modification or like tampering that is not small. So like something potent had wanted this space to be that way.
Okay.
There's a ghost that just shouts, "Witness me."
Now, all of
Okay.
that said and done, all of that caught up, you guys are in this room. There were still things to look at, to sort
Uh-huh.
around. The time is yours.
Piaget's still not in the best of moods. She's hanging out,
In the hallway.
kind of in the door jam. Yeah.
Ah, I see. So if the door closes, you are not trapped in here with these people.
Maybe.
Oh no,
Starts
Cole's
removing
locked
the
behind.
buttons. Oh no.
Oh no, Cole's locked behind the door. Hey, Ron, come here quick. Oh no. Um, trying to think.
Is anyone gonna help me?
Condolences.
Tippy toe.
Oh yeah, you're too short.
I am very short.
Yes, that is a tall display cabinet thing. Yes, because you had wanted to see what was on top of it. Because I
Yeah.
described what was in it.
So Ron had had some serious acupuncture, so Cole, despite not being in a good mood, will go and assist Nemo with getting what she's looking for.
Fair enough. Good old-fashioned, like, cupping your hands down before you and letting the other person step into it to hoist up. Yeah, you'd be able to get up there enough, Nemo, to see what's on top.
Sneaky
And
bitches?
up on top, there's a big gold, like, it's not quite a vase, but it's not quite a pot. It's somewhere in between. There's probably a technical term that I have no
We went through this
concept.
last time. What do we call it?
Yeah.
It's not a bowl.
Jeffrey.
A basin.
Basin?
There you
Yeah,
go.
thank you. That
I was like, it's
was
the spitting one in the old westerns.
Spittoon.
a spittoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a double-sized spittoon. So like you could carry it in two hands, except I mean, you probably still could, but it looks like it might actually be made out of solid gold, which it gonna be heavy. But trying to like grab it and like wiggle it around or anything, it does not have a lid. It's just an open top. And you don't hear anything moving inside it if you like try and rattle it at all. So it seems like it might just be either if something's in there, it's probably like stuffed in so that it doesn't move, or it might be like affixed somehow, or it might just be empty and is just a pretty thing that's worth money. But that is the only thing up there.
The inside.
Yeah. Yeah, you could. You'd be up high enough with Cole's help. It is just empty.
Okay, darn. No sneaky bitches.
This is giving the vibe of like lifting up your pet so they can see what's on top of the counters that they've never seen before. Lifting up your short friend so they can see the places they've never seen before.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what top shelf liquor looks like.
Don't come at me like that.
But yes, that's the only thing on top of that whole cabinet
Okay.
case thing. Just as a reminder, the front of it is locked with, like, it just has a standard keyhole. You haven't found a key for it, but like you can see the stuff that is inside of it. I know we went over it before. If you would like a recap, I can recap it to you.
There were a couple of books and those potion bottles I wanted. So yeah, she's gonna like ask Cole to like lower her back down. And You know, I don't think they care if we're being delicate. Um, yeah, no, I want the roll. Can I try to pick it? The
Yeah,
lock.
as long as you have lockpicks, which I do believe we've discussed, at least one of you does.
Yeah,
Cole
they're on
does
me
it.
at the moment.
Then yeah, by all means, sleight of hand check.
Rad, is this something you're wanting to do, or is this something you just want Cole to do while he's waiting on Nemo hand and foot?
Oh,
It could be trash.
I
You
will,
should let Cole do it.
but I want to make rolls.
Do it. Do the roll.
Uh, Cole can help so I can get advantage.
Sure, because you're
Ye-
you're both proficient with thieves' tools, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, in that case, yes. If you would like, Cole, you could be their scrutinizing clipboard, hard hat,
Like she did to
foreman.
him in the other room.
Yeah,
Exactly.
whole 9
Mhm,
yards.
mhm.
Just hears the wrong kind of click and goes, no, 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 try this instead. As you're
No,
working the
Basically, the
tumblers of the
jiggler.
no,
mechanism.
to the left. There you
Nemo
go.
holds up both her hands to figure out
So
left from
close.
right.
Yeah, much like I think you had picked a lock somewhere else in these ruins
I had.
before. Yeah. Uh, much like Cole's experience was, Nemo, you realize whenever this place was in regular use, however long ago that actually was, this may have been a decently impressive like difficulty of lock. It's really not that difficult. Like you've definitely trained on harder things to gain your proficiencies. Like it takes no significant time. So you're able to pick that lock easily and swing that glass case open, and you have full access to everything in either the unlocked side compartments or the main center display of this cabinet. Um,
Fantastic.
which there, let's see. So free access to what you had before picking the lock. There was a potion bottle. Just
Yes.
looks like a standard potion of healing. And then there were a dozen books that were all written in that language that comprehend languages wasn't letting you read and gave you a headache when you tried. But inside the locked cabinet, there is one other book. The cover on it says Creatures of Myth and My Wonderful Wiles.
Very curious about that one.
Okay. Um, Cole, are you peeking into this as well? As Nemo's
No,
going through what's in there, or
yeah,
job
he'll
done?
glance while he's there.
Okay. I ask because you two see different things out of this when Nemo
Oh,
cracks that book open. Nemo, to you, when you open this book, it is a fictional story. Like it's not a really thick book. Uh, but it's very clearly just like a little short novella, novel, whatever. Uh, and whatever page you first crack it open to makes it very very obvious that this was. Congratulations, you have unlocked a very niche relic of ages far gone version of fictional smut.
Hell yeah.
Uh, and that's exactly
I
what
was
it
wondering
is.
about
You
that because
just
Wiles.
mm-hmm. Uh, Cole, you find yourself able to literally read between the lines and realize that this isn't actually that kind of book. You can read the book that way if you wish, but you have to decide to, because when you look at these pages, you see spell pages.
So
Someone writing
Cole,
smut in a wizard's book.
I've read Full Metal Alchemist. I know how this shit works. Cole's gonna reach over and take that book out of Nemo's hands and bring
Hey,
it to his face out of curiosity, and just kind of turn pages.
let's read.
Nemo's
And
just gonna think he's like really into
exactly.
Andros smut.
Like Nemo like, gets offended, and then she's like, "You're such a weirdo. You can read."
I was thinking it. I wasn't gonna say it. It's like you can't even read. Can you? Can you read?
Canon proof, only 14 sessions in, that Cole is in fact some amount of literate.
Unless there's pictures in here.
There are
Yeah.
not pictures.
Turns book sideways, gestures at it.
It's a magic eye.
Exactly.
uh,
Alright. So Nemo grabs the potion bottles. She like opens one, sniffs it, and make sure it's actually still good.
Cole's gonna glance at the rest of the books, see if any of the rest look like spell books or if they're just other books.
the other books you see are written in a very strange language that, like the plaque underneath that statue, have a very significantly softer, but all the other ones have a very soft, like pink purple light emanating out of the ink used to write them.
Uh,
And
yeah,
it's not a script you recognize from anywhere outside this room.
yeah, we'll avoid those because those make brain hurt.
Yeah.
At least looking at them for you, they don't make your head hurt except for the fact that you just don't know what they are.
Okay.
But then Nemo, you had wanted potions.
Yes.
So there's a potion of healing outside the locked compartment, but inside the locked compartment there's two more. They're all your standard red potion of healing bottle. Clear glass, you can see into it. It's kind of an old style of bottle that's kind of cool. Just like nobody really makes bottles like this anymore. And the appraiser in you is probably a little like just appreciative of that fact, if nothing else. There is also a bottle, because there's one other one. Uh, there's
Sorry.
there's another bottle that's round and has a little bit of a like a neck at the top. That's made the whole thing is made out of brass, and the cap on it is like just a stopper you put in, so like a cork, but it's not a cork. It's like a plug of some kind of dark metal. And when you pick it up, it seems like with the metal case it is about right, but like looking at a bottle this size, you wouldn't expect it to weigh a full pound, so it feels a little heavy in your hand. But you can't see into it.
Uh, we're just gonna bag those for now. We'll investigate later.
Okay.
Do potions of healings expire?
Generally not. They have enough magic in them. And as long as they were like properly sealed, in theory, they should still be good. Like shelf stable potion life in my head for Evard is, as long as they were made properly, you can pretty much store them forever.
Yeah. I like to think like Nemo popped one of the healing potions open, sniffed it. Yeah, still good. Quirks it again, puts it away.
Dips her finger and taste, taste, taste. Okay.
Yeah, suitable. Um. Okay, so that was like one fancy 1 pound potion bottle.
Uh, yeah. Yeah. No, well, I'll go ahead and let you know what it is. Uh, just for inventory management, if nothing else, you can play with it later and figure it out in camp
I
or
mean, she could do the
something.
sniff chest with us too.
As soon as you pull out that stopper to do a sniff test,
Hmm.
as soon as there is any amount of open air in that seal,
It
there's
explodes.
no, it starts to seep out a very dark smoke
Oh.
that just seems like it should smell like a nice big campfire, but it has no smell. So it's probably a magic kind of smoke. Uh, the the
Oh.
item you have found is an ever smoking bottle for use in your inventory, which is a proper 5e item. I won't go
Mm.
into everything it does. That is something that can be Googled. I can send
Yes.
it to you later if you don't want to, just for time's sake.
Okay.
But then 3 potions of healing, and then there were 2 other things inside. There's like a little jar that when you lift off the lid has some sort of ointment or like cream inside,
Hmm.
like a cosmetics cream of some sort. When you open it, it smells faintly of aloe vera.
Cool. She found the equivalent of Vicks Vapor Rub.
uh, Actually, Nemo, roll me a d4.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay, so it is full. There are 5 doses of whatever ointment this is.
Cool.
Which is, let me, I'm going to attempt to say this name, but I want to put it in text just in case for reference. But I believe it's Kyotum's ointment. So it's a full thing. It has 5 doses in it. And when you smear the ointment on skin, or it can be swallowed also, uh, it restores health and also cures poisoning.
Fantastic. That would have been super helpful in the other room when someone decided to drink fucking still water.
Says the one who drank turpentine at the beginning of this endeavor.
I feel like that was a very controlled environment.
And says the one that applies a burning poison to our companion.
Fair. And then the last thing that was in that interior cabinet, since it's been a little while since I described every interactable item in this room, there's a ruby, 1-inch diameter, like cut ruby,
Yoink.
and it has runes etched into it.
Oh boy. Okay.
So whatever it is, this is not just a standard gemstone. You get that ping in your estuary in the back of your mind that tells you that this is an attunable magic item.
Oh.
When we finally do get around a campfire and rest, the next 3 nights are just going to be passing items back and forth to people. Just does this one work for you? Nah, this isn't my flavor. How about your? Okay.
It might come to that with all the stuff you guys found. I mean, it
Yeah.
takes an hour to attune to an item in a controlled, restful environment. But that is everything about that case,
Cool.
which realistically takes maybe a minute to check all of it and bag it,
Cool.
since you had already looked at the books and stuff outside the locked area.
And then, since I was like, would you say that she has a line of sight of this area?
Yes.
Okay. Since Cole is right next to her, I like to think that, like she's like inspecting this gem, and then looks up at Cole like, and Infernal asks him, by any chance, have you been contacted by anything in here?
Cole's gonna stop reading through his book and turn and look at her. And replying in Infernal, as in the beings you refer to? No. Well, He's gonna stop and set the book down and think for a minute. Actually, when I placed my hand upon the sarcophagus, there was a whisper. But that was it.
She like leans over to look at the spot again. She's like, "Oh, really? He's been staring at you this entire time."
Ghost crush, ghost crush, ghost crush.
Like the head of the sarcophagus.
Yeah.
Is where she's looking.
Yeah.
It was very faint, and I only felt it when my hand was on it. And if what Varkon is saying that it was part of a dead god in that container, it might have been from that. Because it was asking me to release it.
Oh, well, your new friend over there wants your attention, and he's pointing at the other book.
The one I'm holding?
No.
The other one.
The other one.
So Cole's gonna put this book back into his smut novel into his bag, and is gonna pull out the black one.
Weirdo.
And he once again looks at Nemo and goes, "The one at the head of the sarcophagus on this book?"
The other. The one with the tongue.
Oh, Cole didn't grab that one.
No,
Yeah, no,
Varkon was
that's the
looking
problem.
at it while you were grabbing the other one.
So Cole's gonna come over here and he's gonna take a look at the tongue book.
Cool.
It is interesting. At this point, he's back in common. This one?
Yeah.
So was this in a case, Ulf?
Yes, the case is locked, but it also has glass sides. If you don't feel like dealing with a lock, you could try and just break it.
Well, we have the tools.
So, you say that, and I'm wholeheartedly expecting a nat 1, Cole just saying, ah, fuck it, and shoving an elbow through the glass. This one's a little bit tougher, but you'll be able to get it.
Okay. And then he's gonna slowly reach out and grab the book, avoiding the tongue, and remove it.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, what if you need the tongue?
Oh,
you removed the book,
on
not
the
the tongue.
book. I just don't grab it by the tongue. Buy it dinner first, Nemo. But once he has it, he's gonna open it up and just kind of flip through a few pages, seeing what he can see. Did I lose everybody?
No, sorry.
No.
Oh, okay.
It just went dead silent.
Yeah, I was like,
I was
what?
gonna unmute and say, "Ooh, he typing."
Oh, okay. Oh, he typing.
Cole, you should have a whisper message just in Roll20 chat.
Okay. I was looking in Discord and someone typed something else.
But You see some of the pages as you open and flip through are covered in the same sorts of, not exactly the same like method, but still the same general appearance of spells transcribed into a spell book.
Oh.
Quite notably written by someone different than the other books. So, because so far you found 3 books that have some
Yes, I
amount of
have.
spells already in them.
Yes, I have.
They are all written in a different system.
Oh, wow.
So these are probably 3 different distinct mages wrote in each of these books.
And he's gonna look to Nemo and say, "Is this getting a reaction?"
Would she still have that up or?
Probably not. You would have to reactivate it.
Oh,
think
I didn't know she no longer saw him.
I think to do that was her last. To like to see the guy pointing at Cole was her last usage of that trait for the day. So
Okay. I don't remember. I trust your judgment on that.
yeah. I don't know, my eyes hurt.
That's fair. All right, so Cole will close this book, add it to his pack, so he has 3 new books to read. One of them for quote unquote pleasure, and 2 for work, maybe 3 for work. Who knows?
But
For all Nemo knows.
that's it? What did he tell you?
That this works better for communication. Should I keep reading, or it appears to be a spell book. I'll have to translate it later.
He just wanted you to take the book?
Cole's gonna shrug.
She squints her eyes at him. Like that's it? No no requests or anything?
No request, no demand, no bargain.
Weird. Okay.
Nemo immediately thinking boring.
It's oh, he is illiterate.
Now I was starting to wonder if he just saw pictures and was interested.
Yeah, maybe. These letters almost look like a person.
Telling you, it was a magic eye.
Cole, I'm not sure if you saw, but you did get one more whisper message.
I did see that. Yes.
Okay, cool.
My answers don't change.
Okay. A Yejeye.
Yes.
Next to you, you do hear a little bit of a slight creak. Only for a fraction of a second, but it's enough to hear. You didn't see the door move, but it was either a door, a python, the stone, or some combination thereof.
I suppose she'll speak up about that. Unless all of you want to join the tomb, I think it's about time to go.
At that, Cole's gonna look up, glance at the door, and go, "Time to go."
We don't want the mushrooms outside?
I mean, I do, but I'm not gonna risk getting stuck in a tomb about it. I know that there's technically another way, but I'm not risking that way.
We've grabbed our goodies. We can start making our trek back.
What are you talking about? Like, Yoshi, I thought you needed to save your people.
At least the one mushrooms I can see are ones that I've collected before. I'm pretty sure.
I believe all the ones you'd be able to see are ones you've collected.
Yeah.
There was a weird looking one in the back, but okay.
That one might be different. I don't know. Uncertain at this time.
You sure there's a pink purple? There's a big ass one that looks like an eyeball.
I'm a lot less useful to people if I get locked in a tomb.
I'm not sure if I said it earlier, but I don't think we'll be able to open this door again. So we need to leave.
Unless
What
you want to
about-
try going the way that Shoko went. But I'm a
Hey,
little bigger
Cole,
than Shoko.
could I fit through the hole you made in the other room?
No, I didn't finish getting into this wall yet.
AJ is standing outside the door now.
But even I couldn't get through?
I just hadn't made it big enough yet.
How long will it take you?
Ulf, time estimate?
I'm trying to remember. I want to say like probably 15, 20 minutes at most.
Before we test this theory, Cole's gonna come over and just see if the knife will still work on the walls in here, make sure there's not some kind of magic.
The other room.
I realize that, but if locked in here, so does the knife cut through the stone?
The knife will cut through the stone, yeah.
In the other room, the hole isn't built enough yet, but I could make it that way in, I don't know, by 20 minutes or so.
Mm,
I could make it you sized, not necessarily the rest of us sized, in that time.
I think I could dig up mushrooms in that time. Yeah, I'm gonna go dig up mushrooms.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Split the party. Split the party.
All right.
Nemo,
Mm?
I think we need to all leave.
Okay.
Vron has been making his way towards the door slowly, and he stops in front of the statue where this pedestal is,
Hmm.
because there was a book that was open, and it only displayed a number before. And Ron, like, almost walks by it and then pauses and does a double take at the book that's open, and he goes, "Hey, did this number change for y'all, or am I the only one seeing this? I swear it
What?
said 15 when we walked in, and now it says 14. There's enough weird shit in this room. I'm not going to assume everybody sees it the same." Lo and behold, for all of you, it does now say 14.
Oh,
I don't like that.
no. How long have we been in this room?
Almost 10 minutes, or actually 10 minutes. Depends on if the Pythons are actually holding the door open or not.
Yeah, I don't think I want to wait around and find out what the number means or what the doors are going to hold or not hold too. And Ron will just go out past the Yegier.
Okay.
That please, when I as the DM, when I do something like that, that is the NPC. If I, the DM, want you to move on, I will tell you. If you guys want to stay in
Oh.
here, by all means, please do. That is just
Okay.
up to you. I am not trying to force you out of this room.
Yeah. Cole's gonna come over and does the book close? Is it pick upable?
As soon as you close it, it snaps back open to the same spot.
And then do the pages turn at all?
They do the same thing. They'll turn, but as soon as you let go, they go back to the same place. All of the other pages in this thing. Let me double check my notes and make sure I'm about to give you accurate information.
Someone cast bookmark on this book.
Yes. All of the pages in this book are blank, except for this one.
Okay. And then one last thing before he leaves, just kind of putting his hand down and grabbing out the book with the tongue. He's gonna look up at this statue. And just see if anything's changed since when they walked in.
Make an investigation check.
We all have to not be looking at it for it to move.
That's the hard part because I am looking at it.
If anything on it has changed, it's been very, very, very subtle. Like you are fairly confident that nothing has changed.
Okay.
Not 100%, but you're pretty certain.
That works. Nemo, do you need to say goodbye to your friends?
They seem to like you more.
He's gonna kind of perk up at that. What?
What? They're just gonna keep going.
Ugh.
Cole's gonna kind of glance back over his shoulder and, before I assume he's. I can't remember. Did he and Ron carry this chest up before?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Cause if I remember right, except for the books, I'm trying to remember where all the different things you guys grabbed ended up. I want to say a lot of them ended up with a Yejiye.
Yep. So, in the bag of holding, I put almost all of the items in the reliquary,
Okay.
except for that ornate chest because it had a ton of coins, and was therefore heavy.
Yes.
So that's the small stone chest with about 3,600 copper coins.
Yes.
So that one we did not put in the bag.
And we did do math to figure out how heavy it was, and I don't
Yeah.
remember what the math was.
And we didn't like it. I have written down approximately 32 pounds.
That sounds
Yeah,
right.
that sounds right. My brain had a vague notion that it was like 30 to 40-ish pounds. So that sounds right. And I know you guys did the math, so I trust those numbers more than if I did them. Okay, cool.
Alright, so Cole can carry that. So he'll pick it up and We'll keep on keeping on, get a move on. Get a dachshund, as they say.
Do they?
Well, get a long little doggy. That's a dachshund.
Jesus Christ.
It was so weird how the cave collapsed only where Cole was standing.
When the
Man,
player
heart
gives...
attacks, they happen to tieflings apparently, but
No, I wouldn't do that. It'd be a brain aneurysm. So much
Awful
harder
way
to
to go.
counter. Yeah, you guys get out of there and back into the narrow hallway. Yejiye, are you going to try and retrieve your pythons, or are you just going to leave them there?
I like having fingers, so I'm gonna leave them there.
oh. Cole has mage hand, so we can try and get them.
Okay, if it's less than 5 pounds of force to get him out.
It's probably not, but I'll let it go.
Well, it's 10 pounds.
Oh, I was wrong. My B.
Yeah, you'll be able to get them that way. Good use of mage hand.
Hooray. You
Okay.
see this? Teamwork makes the dream work, gang.
All right, so who's carrying the chest of coins, or are you leaving it in the hallway?
Cole's carrying it.
Okay, cool. All right. As you remove the pythons, the door definitely starts visibly showing its displeasure more. And the last python is actually snapped, so you are missing one. But
I don't know how many I usually have, so.
yeah,
Okay.
mostly for flavor text. I don't know how many you actually used. But yeah, it was close. It was definitely close and actively trying to close. So good call on the pythons. Otherwise, you guys would have had a different sort of situation to leaving this room. But yeah, you do that and you walk back down out to the hallway. Ron will kind of post up and just be in the middle of this space trying to alternately peek down each of these hallways again. See if anything's changed. You know, be doing his job.
Oh.
Shall we?
Remember the
Shall
other
we?
room I mentioned?
Huh?
Remember I mentioned there's another room?
Which room?
This one. And she like points at the bookshelf.
I'm guessing that's an investigation.
Not after you saw how the other one was opened. It's
Oh.
exactly the same mechanism. It takes a little bit of time, but it's the same sort of thing in a different part of the shelf. It's just like on a different level and different back corner. But just like the other one, the bookshelf slides sideways and reveals another room. So these coffins you see on the ground are because when I made the original map for this, I forgot to put the metal body cases in here that you've been seeing elsewhere in the ruins. So that's just a Roll20 asset to mark, but it is the same metal fancy body container that you've been seeing elsewhere. A few other things of note in this room, once I get my notes back up. There's latrine stalls in here for some reason. They don't have doors or curtains or anything. Apparently going into the secret bookshelf room was your bathroom stall lock. Or they just like rotted away. But yeah, there's a few shitters in case anybody needs to take care of some business. There are two of those metal body cases, and there's another heavy-duty metal door, like the one you guys just dealt with, but instead of having that calm, emotionless face of like a cherubic infant, it has a different face that protrudes out farther and is some sort of horned draconic-esque skull that has a single like spike at the end of its nose, like not like the spike that you were supposed to in theory put blood into to open the other one, but like the draconic creature has a spike on the end of its snout. And then next to that metal door, there's another one of these nifty little vellum scrolls, unaged, on a little display. And on the wall next to it is a cracked, like, stone bowl. So, like, right here in the square next to Nemo. The bowl is still mostly structurally intact. It's got a couple of chunks missing off the rim near the door. But the scroll has text on it that simply says, "Give of others."
Now this one we can use the blood in the other room.
Cole's gonna shrug. You wanna go grab some?
Do we have a bowl? I probably have a flask or something.
I don't know.
Or there's probably bowls in the other room.
I mean, in the embalming room, there was like a whole alchemy workbench that would have like bowls, bottles, vases.
Oh,
Okay, there it is. I was mildly distracted trying to look up. I had a few more details about the face on the door.
oh,
So,
I'm going back.
like a draconic-esque face, but there are a few things that I guess I don't know Ayeje or Cole how much you would know or like have seen of artistic depictions of dragons in like a storybook or like artwork, but I know at least Nemo, with your profession, you would have cause to have seen at least like artwork that would depict draconic creatures from time to time. But if nothing else, you've all encountered Dragonborn, so
Mhm.
that's a base level to work from. But the muzzle on this is longer and leaner than Dragonborn pretty much ever have. Or even those draconic critters that Nemo scared off earlier in the caverns on your first day underneath Darbiton. Even for those, the muzzle is longer. The opening of the mouth, like the corners, go unnaturally far back towards the back of the head. Like underneath and past where there are holes, presumably for like ears. The mouth extends underneath that. So for whatever reason, this thing can open its mouth real big, whatever this creature is supposed to be. There's the horn above the nostrils, but it doesn't actually have horns or horn bases portrayed at like the back or side of the head, which is kind of rare for Dragonborn or drakes, dragons in artwork. It's weird to not see any sort of horn on the back of the head. Some of that might just be because that's where it connects to the door. But it seems like it's attempting to be an accurate depiction anatomically. So, like, may or may not be a point of anatomical correctness or just limit of the media being attached on the backside to a giant metal barrier.
Hmm.
But that is everything of note in this room, except for there is one giant cluster of roots. much like some of the others that you guys have seen in some of the other rooms. Creeping down through the ceiling and busting across the wall stones.
Mhm. Do we think this is actually a dragon or like a serpentine-like creature?
And Cole's gonna shrug.
Great talk. Okay.
So Cole's gonna head over to the embalming room.
Meow.
And I see there's some bowls on tables and things here.
Yeah.
And between a mage hand and a bolt, I think we could get some blood.
Yeah, you could.
Let's give that a try.
Okay. Yeah.
And we will
You
take
can
that
get a
back.
bowl of blood.
Yay! Old blood, old blood, old blood. And I'm not taking it. The mage hand is carrying it the whole way, and then it's gonna kind of pour it into the broken ceramic bowl.
Okay. You wouldn't be able to transfer all of it before it would start spilling out the breaks in the bowl. But
Okay.
like it's enough you wouldn't want to stick your hand in it and like try and lay it flat. I don't know why that's where my brain went with that depiction of volume, but I'm committed
that's
at this
It's a
point.
good sense of volume.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but like it is not an insignificant amount of blood that you're able to pour in there, and nothing happens. Was there
Well,
anything else belonging to other people in that room?
everything we fucking took. If you really think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. Nemo takes off the glasses. I'm like, I don't know, will this work? And she puts it into the bowl.
The
Dipping it
glasses.
into the
Yeah,
into
the
blood.
glasses.
uh, Congratulations, you have bloody glasses.
Woo!
That's it.
Okay, cool.
Let's see.
And
What'd you end up doing to open the other one? Like, more than just the stabbing yourself happened.
I was able to magically open it. I'd need to rest before I could do that again.
So we never really figured out what we did on the other one. What makes us think we're figuring this one out? Though we could rest here. We'll need to rest soon anyway.
That's true. If we can close that bookcase from the other side, this is an enclosed space. Except for that one little spot of wall, but that's easy enough to watch.
Before agreeing to all this, Cole's gonna go put his hand on the dragon, and Ulf, just with his estuary, he's trying to see if he feels something familiar, or if this one feels just like a door
Just feels
compared
like a
to.
door.
Okay. I had a feeling, but the last door felt like a door. But
No, it's fair. I appreciate it.
yeah, we're
Um,
just a little door shy.
Nemo,
Sir.
Could you do me a favor and make a history check?
Okay.
Or religion, I guess. It could be either. I'm pretty sure it's the same modifier either way, but
Yeah.
either one.
Sorry. Don't say. Oh, no.
That is okay. Uh, as you're sitting there trying to think of what this could mean, and everybody's discussing maybe making camp, taking a rest, whether that's a short rest or a long rest, and Cole is debatably a little too excited about that fantastic creatures in my wiles book and starts touching the animal face on the door.
Um, I was gonna say, yeah, after Nemo's thing, Cole does have another idea.
Unzips pants.
Yeah, she is taking this as just a rest period, I think.
Okay. Cole, what is your idea?
Cole's gonna take out the tongue book, and open up a page while he has a hand on the door, and go, and kind of look at the book and go, "How do we open this?" And kind of wrap his fingers on the door, like just kind of thrumming along.
Take an inspiration.
I already have inspiration, damn it.
I had not thought of that as a possible interaction. Like just that hadn't occurred to me as a thing you might try. But it's clever.
Yay!
I like it.
Why are you grabbing the dragon's head?
Shh.
Nemo, as you're asking this and Cole has this book open, you can't help but notice that characters appear on the page. They just fade into existence all at once. I guess I don't need to whisper message it then. And the text comes up with just a short response that says, "You must use an organ as a key." And Nemo, that kind of ties back into why I had you make that check, because that in particular would jog your memory about
The heart in the other room.
about something you read where there there was a scroll in the embalming room that had different portrayals of anatomically correct hearts for different species, and on it was a little paragraph of text that said, regardless of species, the heart is the most sacred piece of any creature's body. It gives both the blessing of life and his gift of death. Observe all prayers and rituals before removing and processing. Different species have different vascular connections and chamber structures as shown below. And so that would definitely jog your memory. The give of others very well might be this sense of the heart being the most important and sacred piece. And there were mummified hearts back there.
Nemo starts stroking his shirt. Hearts. The hearts.
Hmm?
The hearts in the other room.
Oh. Cole's gonna snap his book closed. Let's go.
Yay! We're gonna play with hearts.
Yeah, I believe loose in the embalming room there are 2 hearts without even really having to like look. But they're dehydrated and preserved. They're like an unfortunate mostly black color. from whatever
I think
preserving
that
method was
counts.
applied.
Yeah.
But there are two of them just like on a shelf or a desk or assorted places in there. I forget exactly where they were, but there were two of them that you could see that weren't like in a canopic jar. So you grab.
Fetch, Nemo. Fetch.
Remember that I don't go into any room.
So,
myself.
are we able to just say we go and grab a
Yeah,
heart?
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Nemo's coming like, don't break my heart. My achy breaky heart.
Ah,
If Ron's still in
nice.
the room with the EGA, she's just gonna look at him and. So does that mean we're supposed to use one of our hearts for the other door? Looking moderately horrified as any normal person would.
I
No, there were
sincerely hope
two.
not.
There were two
But
hearts.
that one said give of yourself.
Oh, maybe.
Nemo shoves heart in, bloody bowl.
Like, I can't imagine how that'd be practical if somebody's ever supposed to go in there and, I don't know, clean the dust off of a tomb or something. Like, everybody go in there clean, be dead before they got in.
I'm not sure this place was built for practicality. Motions to the two doors behind bookcases.
I mean, if you don't want people getting in, that seems practical to me. As Cole and Nemo come back in, just holding a shriveled heart in hand.
Imagine Nemo like just takes it and like starts rolling it through the blood, just kind of playing with it, just dab, 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 dab.
Like a cat just bapping a little roly toy in a bowl.
That's what my brain's doing.
So those
That's
little
fucked up.
sponges that you put them in water and then they turn into like little dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Yes.
That, but the heart in the blood.
See about that.
Hey.
Look
heart
of horror on my face.
As soon as that heart touches the bowl on the inside, all of the blood that you poured in there just gets absorbed into the heart. And the heart no longer looks black and shriveled and dead. It looks very, very much more recent. And it begins to pump.
Oh.
3 times. And on the third pump, the eyes on the door flare open with light. Not open, but it's as if they opened as a light ignites within the eyes of this portrayal of this draconic creature. And at the same time that happens, the heart vanishes. It just fades away. It doesn't Thanos snap dust away, it's just fades into nothing before your eyes. And you hear a very deceptively like low tone for what you would have expected, because like this is a big, serious, heavy duty door, but the click that you hear sounds like a fortified gate mechanism just, and the door opens about 2 inches, and that's as far as it goes. Maybe it's supposed to open all the way on its own, but it's also probably like super fucking old. Or the magic was just enough so that you guys still have to do the work yourself. Who knows? But the door is unlocked.
At this point, Cole will go and pull it open. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
See, aren't you glad I told you about this room?
Wow.
Ron just whistles.
Is it just me or does it look like a portal?
It
Portals.
it do.
So, down here in the southern side of this room is a large, round, I can't think of the fucking word. It's not a pedestal, a platform. There we go.
Dais?
Platform. It's bigger than a dais.
Okay.
Like the ceiling in this room is like 3 stories tall. And that raised round platform with the stairs is kind of an awkward height. It's like 3/4 of a level. So it's not like you're full going up to a second story, but it's closer to that than being just like a couple feet off the ground. But on top of that, as well as here and here and here, are 4 round stone circles. Despite what the asset says on the picture, they're not doing anything. There's no effects going on. Behind them, you just see stone wall. There's no mist or fog or fire. So if it is some sort of portal, it seems like they're deactivated or just non-functional. There's also one down here that is mostly circular, but it's surrounded in these same kinds of roots that you've been seeing breaking through the walls and coming down from the ceiling. They're the most like wood-based plant you've seen in days being underground here. So this would stand out from the fact that these aren't just more roots of like vines, but these are like logs grown naturally in a circular shape, as if they were more flexible like a vine. But they're enormous. Like this is somebody just made a tree bendable and bent it into a crude circle and then made it hard again to stay in that shape and slapped it up against the wall. So you actually count 5 circular possible portals, it sounds like, is the current suspicion. And then these braziers in here are lit with this like kind of crimson hue. They're burning. They don't seem to change the heat of the room as you walk in. It feels just as cool and damp as anywhere else. So this is probably some sort of magical fire lighting these braziers. But then this thing here is more of just like a dais. It's a couple steps of a stone platform. And at the top is a big black, it looks like a well. And it has just a black metal archway over the top that instead of having like a bucket like you would have for a well, it just has a suspended green lantern that is currently not lit. But looking down into the well, you cannot see a bottom. So it's at least 60 feet deep. And it is dark. Again, the asset makes it look like it's light and misty. It's not. It's just dark and damp and sound if you're leaning over and do a hello, hello, hello. The reverberation is weird. Not in any super discernible way, but something about it just sounds kind of not, something about it doesn't quite sound normal. And
Start
then
building Underworld.
And then, Cole, as you step into this space between the dais and the platform stairs, you notice there's another one of these scrolls of that unaged vellum just laying in the middle of the floor. It has no nice display mounted to the wall or anything like that. You actually probably kick it as you're distracted by the architecture of the room and its grand features, that you would kick it and it would skitter a bit and you'd be like, ah, shit. And this one, hey, surprise, is legible. It's not just in the Terran that most of the things in here are written in, because it's once again phrased in the same way as these others, where it says, give of him.
And then is this section in front of Cole just kind of a fancy floor?
Yes.
Okay.
If you would like to see if there's more to it, you could investigate it.
Yeah,
But at
I
face
will do.
value,
Yeah, because it looks of import. And if my eyes do not deceive me, I see 4 hinges.
that's fair. I could see how you could think that. Go ahead and make that investigation check.
Yeah, we'll see if we could think and if that would make sense, and who be him, and what what do we need to give of him in order to make him have been it that he be?
Jesus Christ,
Oh.
you broke my brain.
Holden, stop it, buddy. Sorry.
It's to distract you
Leave
from
that
my
to my
low
arm.
roll.
Uh, you certainly see the hinges. You can see that there's some kind of crack, and that this might be some kind of a door that opens upward with the 4 pieces coming apart to make a circular opening that would just be obnoxious to get around the teeth that opening it creates.
Mhm.
But you don't see any sort of mechanism for like engaging or disengaging a lock, or even like a good grip to start trying to pry it open. But it does look like it's some sort of fixture and or door in the floor.
Reading the vellum in passing, Asia is just going to comment, well, the only pieces of a hymn that I can think of are the piece that Shoko took and the piece that you have to Cole. But she doesn't seem very interested in that as she comes over here to, what else would she be looking at?
He was working so hard not to address Cole.
At least she didn't use her free action to, berate him.
No, it's other side of the room. You guys. Jeez.
Yejier, is there any interaction you would like to have with that wooden thing you're investigating?
I'm debating with myself as to whether it seems too important to try to pry pieces off of.
Fair.
If there's any pebbles, I might throw a couple of small pebbles at it.
Yeah, you can.
Not like throw, but just like a toss.
Just like a, does it plink as expected?
Is it gonna do anything weird if I hit it? There's already been a lot of weird shit here. People getting spontaneous headaches.
And this is the wood. You're not throwing it like into the circle.
Little column A, little column B.
Okay. In either case, nothing happens. Pebble 1 planks off the wood as expected. Pebble 2 planks off the stone wall behind the circle as expected.
Okay. In that case, she feels fine to poke around at the wood / anything growing out of the wood to see if it's anything she is familiar with / if she's seen it before in this area, or if she thinks she might want to try to pry some off.
Feel free
Ugh.
to make a nature check to identify stuff about it.
Ooh, nature. Oh, cool.
Most of the stuff that's growing on here looks like you can tell that things were growing on it. It does not look like they have been so preserved by time as a lot of the other stuff here. But from what you can see of like bases and husks left behind and shriveled up bits, these don't, you are confident these don't look like anything very remotely related to the ecosystems and resources of your home or the things you've learned of since you've left. These seem entirely new.
Would it be identifiable as to what sort of biome or environment they might have once grown in?
You see what might be some sort of fungus, not necessarily like a mushroom, but less, yes?
Sorry, the cat's really tall right now.
Okay,
He's on like the tallest stack of stuff.
I saw Pez made a
Zag.
confused face over on the other side of the room. Um, there's kind of like the dried up wisps of not like a mushroom fungus, uh, but more like a imagine imagine a lichen but scaled up and then shriveled and dead. You see a lot of that. There are a few things that almost look like barnacles, and that's most of what's there, except for a couple like wispy vines that are barely anything beyond dust.
Okay, and the wood doesn't seem like any sort of drift wood, right?
Mm-mm.
Just with the mention of barnacles, I'm like,
No, it does not. It like, despite what the asset looks like, it has bark
yeah.
and everything still. It doesn't look healthy, but it does not look like it's driftwood.
Okay, she'll just be poking around at it for no real goal in mind except just
Appreciate,
interest.
explore.
Yeah.
Cool. Nemo's gonna walk up to Yashier and dig in the bag for the book about magical portals.
Oh yeah, there was one of those, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Written by some academy called Aperture Science.
Aw.
Good pull. Thanks for that. Let me find where I had the information on that book. I scrolled past it. I think.
It's like
Yeji,
something about
any?
portals and pocket dimensions.
Yeah. Any response to Nemo coming up and just like rooting around in your bag?
In my bag, her bag.
Wasn't it in
It
your
was
bag?
in your bag, I believe.
No big response. They have enough of their own stuff in my bag anymore.
Fair enough.
Will look to see what is coming out of the bag, but won't necessarily stop from going in the bag.
Fair. God damn it. I have to mention this, much to my own chagrin. Uh, just because of the curse that Pez caused in the warm-up VC. I forgot that one of the books Nemo found was called The Whole Hollow World Atlas.
Yeah.
And it was someone's attempt to like document the Everdark. And they didn't get super far with it, but I thought you guys would appreciate that knowledge. Yes, the theorized machinations behind interdimensional portals, bags, and holes. Yes, Nemo, I need you to make an intelligence skill check.
Can Nemo read?
Oh, it's such a great thing. I have inspiration finally. Um, do I say like I use that if the world was shitty? Right? Is that how that
But
works? It
before
is, right?
you roll,
Yes. Yes.
yes.
Okay. Inspiration. It's intelligent
And then you just get
skill.
to roll with advantage.
Yup, yup.
Woo! Well, it helped.
Yeah, good thing you did.
So, fun fact about that book, you need to pass a DC 19 intelligence skill check in order to comprehend anything about it through all the jargon and bad handwriting.
Wow.
Because this is complex stuff. This is essentially a fantasy variant of quantum mechanics that you're trying to just be like, I don't know, anything good in here? And there's a few decent things in there.
Nemo, you only have a +1 intelligence?
And
I'm
I thought
so
your ass wasn't illiterate, so shut the fuck up.
I don't know what your class is. We're all confused about each other.
You see why I found it funny when you guys in the first 3 sessions were all going, we just made the same character.
Yeah, the fact that we aren't is weird.
And the whole time I've been saying to myself, if not to any of you, I don't remember if I did, just like, give it time.
I
Am
still
I
think my
this-
favorite is you don't have an estuary.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. That
The thought
was pretty
occurs to
good.
me. Am I the smart one?
No. I sound really confident about that. It's because I am.
Does Cole say this?
No, this is all out of character.
Good.
Rad back there waiting with a sick burn. Oh, I hope he says this out loud. Waiting, finger on the proverbial trigger.
Say it with your chest.
Do you say this out loud? No. Damn, gotta stand down.
Click safety back on.
Clears barrel. Okay, Nemo. So, what you get out of that is still, there's a lot of it that is just straight up beyond what you have any reason to understand. But a decent amount of it that you can at least kind of make sense of is in like proper education and theories of magic, the way you affect the world around you with the weave is based on essentially like tapping into the weave itself as generally portrayed as like strands of magical fibers that just are connected to everything, even if it's moving. And like grabbing onto those strands of the weave and pushing or pulling in different directions with uh, different intensities and like twisting or manipulating them in ways that doing it all just right produces certain effects for certain people depending on like what they do. So like you could have somebody who if they're pulling on some aspect of the weave in a certain way, yeah, sure, that might send a firebolt. But if somebody pulls it just a little bit off, their firebolt might be green. And it functions exactly the same way, but for some reason, something so small is different, and it might never be possible to understand why it's different. Now take that as a concept of variables that at face value seem benign, but definitely still are an indicator of something being done abnormally, and apply that to a concept like shifting between physical locations across the world, or even between planes of existence, where the slightest thing done wrong could be catastrophic in so many myriad ways it's not even fully understood. And so, like, the first 3 sections of this book are all, from what you can make sense of it through the terminologies, is essentially just like, these are the fucking dangers of tampering with any sort of teleportation or pocket plane, because there is just so much room for things to go wrong in ways nobody can understand yet. Like, certain creatures can have like lesser teleporting abilities, like Eladrin innately can phase step. That's not a spell, even though mechanically in 5e it is essentially casting the Misty Step spell, but it's just a thing their species can do, so it's just a biological anatomical ability they have. That, not quite so much, not quite so risky. But when you get somebody trying to create a pocket plane, like creating a rope that mimics the rope trick spell, like, it's hard. And there are so few people who have ever understood enough to maybe be able to do it right consistently. And a lot of that knowledge has been lost to time, because unfortunately the people who have cultivated that knowledge tended to keep it to themselves, and then they go and die, and they don't write it down, or if they do, they wrote it down in a spell book, because the people studying this are usually mages. And when people write things down in a spell book, or like complex things like this, it's a unique writing system that makes sense to them. Part of the way estuaries, particularly for wizards, can help them with like transcribing aspects of magic onto a physical form, like a piece of paper, that's usually unique to the person in the way they do it. So presumably their estuary might have something to do with that. So a big portion of this is all that to say, everything from here on out is theory. Please do not take it as fact, because those are all the things that we know about, just to set the stage of how little we know. Granted, this book is how many years old? Who knows what knowledge has been gained since then in, the field of quantum portal mechanics. But you learn a few small things. You learn about teleportation circles as a concept, which, like, the 5e spell teleportation is what this is talking about, because the spell itself, I want to say it's like a 7th level spell, uh, is it's interesting in the way that it requires fixed locations, where you essentially have to memorize the coordinates if you want to reliably go there. Otherwise, you can cast the spell and maybe get there correctly, or maybe be way off in catastrophic ways and end up somewhere you don't intend. But this seems to be kind of the reference point of what makes it go right that we know about. And it comes down to the sigil sequence that becomes essentially the GPS coordinates to that specific place. So there has to be something like that, unique to any portal, that anchors it to these specific locations. So whenever you find a portal somewhere, whether it's written down somewhere or not, there is something unique about it that should be able to maybe not even signify, but still like manifest an anchor to make sure that that connection is secure. So something about the portals in this room, if portals they be, if they were working, should somehow be a stabilizing factor if they were made correctly. And you notice that they all except the wooden one have at the top of the asset, you can see that kind of like stone, almost like a cone coming out of the top in a little offset. And that thing on each of them is covered in rune carvings that are all
I thought they were
pretty identifiably unique from each other.
I thought they were fancy wizard hats for the first little bit. I had to zoom in to see them.
They are not fancy little wizard
I thought all the
hats.
portals were wearing little wizard hats.
I thought they were lanterns.
No, they're stone carvings that are kind of conical, I suppose, like a little wizard hat. But they are, each of them is covered in a shitload of really, really, really small markings. And they are some sort of runic sigil. They don't register to your comprehend languages as like a writing script portraying language. So these are some portrayal of just magic conveyed into a written form. So that alone, yes, these in all likelihood are probably portals that if they're on, which they certainly don't seem to be now, they're probably very stable. Because that's one of the big things you're able to get out of this book and this bit that I've been prattling about now for far too long. Just that, like, that's one of the best things you can do to have a secure connection. And so you get the sense that if these things were on, they'd probably be pretty reliable. The trick is just turning them on. And you get somewhere in there that is portals can have activation and deactivation sequences as complex as not as complex, but as unique as the sigil sequence. Or it can be as simple as in the case of a basic teleportation circle. If it was made crudely, you could have a circle of rocks that just has the sigils etched onto them, and that makes the teleportation circle. You could scoot one of those rocks out of alignment and it could fuck the whole thing up. This seems to be well beyond that, so these would probably be safe to use. As far as the rest with other planes and portals and bags of holding, I don't think what you would get out of that would be relevant, so I'm not going to ramble any further about arcane theory. But thank you for coming to my magic TED Talk.
Where can we purchase your textbook?
Yes.
Because I would like to read this in further detail.
Oh, God. I can't even write my novel about the events of the world, let alone the fucking... Do you know how long it took me to make the 3-page PDF explaining estuaries? And that's not
I
even
don't know. It
written in
seemed like you
character.
cranked out in an afternoon.
No. Not what I sent you about your estuary. The concept of them. That's what I'd have to do for this. I would
Okay.
write a whole book about how this works. I would have to do so much research. Sorry, I know you didn't mean it literally, but that's what my brain said.
No, but I thought that was fascinating.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm glad it wasn't just listening to the DM talk to himself.
To be fair,
To be
I'm
fair.
weird. To be fair.
Dude, same. But yes. So whatever it takes to turn these things back on, it could be as simple as pushing the right stone back into alignment. You get the sense that this probably has something, not necessarily like more like laborious to do, but probably not something so obvious just based on the complexity of the magic around the anchors on top of each of these portals, except the wood one. We don't know what's up with the wood one. It has no obvious sort of sigil anchor. So turning them on would be figuring out the riddle. Riddle is a loose term. But yeah. otherwise, the masonry involved in making these stone portals, even just like the mundane architecture of it, is really cool. They're really well made. Architecture buffs or masonry buffs would probably have a field day for a whole hour. They'd have a field hour.
Not a day.
I don't know if it'd keep their attention for a whole day.
Ah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just some really fancy carved rock. Now, if you turn them on, that's a different story. But yes, officially can confirm you found a shitload of portals. You just gotta find the switch.
Now we gotta think with them.
Yeah, that's right. I say switch, not promising it's just a switch on the wall.
Yeah, it could be a top. Who knows?
It could be a toggle. It could be a button if we're feeling real fancy.
Well, I was going for a bottom, but okay.
We're
We're talking about different switches.
We are. I heard toggle. I didn't hear top. I heard toggle, so I thought we were talking about mechanisms. Maybe yours was way funnier.
One of the things Cole is thinking about is like on the other quote unquote riddles, there was like a very clear location or place to have your thing. Or the fact that this one's just kind of on the ground here without like a receptacle adds a different layer of confusion.
Fair.
Unless you're to toss it like on the hinged portion of the floor here for it to drop, or toss something in the well. But like there's something going on here, and how to and the what.
Fair. I think those are all pretty fair ideas.
Yeah, there's a question here, and my brain doesn't know how to answer.
That's fair. I made all this, and I would not. I'm not even sure I know how to answer, honestly. I mean, I know the answer, but I don't know how to answer.
Yeah.
But that said, I think I might call the session a little early for tonight so that you guys
No,
have some
that's-
time to think that isn't just us staring at the screen. Feel free to do so. Like, I'm happy to stay on the call for a little bit to answer like out of character questions, but I wouldn't resolve anything. But mostly so you guys have some time to think about what you might want to try. Because this one is intended to be harder.
Yeah, because the others have been so easy.
Oh no, this one is a puzzle for 6th graders.
Oh no! We're doomed!
So I want you guys to have the opportunity to think about this, but this one I will probably not give you many passive prompts for.
That's fair.
Because this one is supposed to be harder. So I want you to have time to think about it and not feel like, I don't know, like it's too quiet, we're all just thinking. Or like, I don't want you to feel pressured like we have to be doing something because we're in a session.
You have 30 seconds. Answer now!
Door closes, gas fills the room. You have to use your lightsabers and cut a hole through and kill the battle droids that are waiting outside.
It's a long time to hold your breath, though.
Pew, pew.
Good. Hope you have your rebreather in your pocket.
But you were right about one thing, Master. Negotiations were short.
Thank you for that. Hoban just jumped up here and started bapping the underside of my one toe.
Just because it's 10 minutes to dinner.
Oh, that's probably why. But I will have us pause here and we'll pick up next time. I suppose this is the first time two of you have done this sort of dungeon crawl with me as a DM. So I suppose my parting thought for the puzzle is if it is a puzzle that is critical for you to solve to make major progression, I will give you some sort of prompt. I'm not saying this isn't an important progression you can make, but this is one that is designed if you can't figure it out, you can walk away from. I will not clarify that all the time, but I will include things like that in dungeon crawls like this from time to time. Just an an optional thing that if you can figure it out, great. But I don't want you to feel like you're like failing the campaign if you can't get it and just leave it. If nothing else, you know where this temple is. You could hire Ron and probably find your way back here later on if you're, 3 weeks from now up on the surface getting drunk and realize, I know what it means! You could come back. It'd just take a while, but you could do it.
If
Finkel
Ron's willing
is
to come back down
Einhorn.
with us.
Einhorn is Finkel.
Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. Charlie, not only do all of these people exist, they've been asking for their mail for the past 3 weeks. For those who have not actually seen that scene of
It's Always Sunny.
Always Sunny, the
Fucking great.
meme of Charlie, cigarette in hand, frantically above his conspiracy board. That's what's going on. He's trying to figure out who these different people in this office setting are. The main on his list is Pepe Sylvia, and he's working in a mailroom.
Pepe Sylvia.
And it's funny because that character is largely illiterate, technically kind of literate. And he just can't figure out who these people are, and he cannot give them their mail, and so he's frazzled by this conspiracy that they don't actually exist. And so he's that meme is him explaining everything he's found about this conspiracy going on and why this random ass company is lying about the existence of these people. And he goes on for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then the guy he's telling it to just drops that bomb. Charlie, not only do all of these people exist, they've been asking for their mail for the last 3 weeks.
I just dropped it in the Discord.
It's so good. It's I love it. Anyways,
It's 2 minutes of your life. Watch it.
Yes, thank you. But yeah, think about what you want to think about and ponder and try, and you have a whole week to do so, and we'll pick back up in the room Dead Portals next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for playing tonight, everybody. Have a good rest of your night.
Yep. Thanks, Elf.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Woof. We did it. We got there. Okie dokie. Thanks for hanging out tonight, everybody. I know it wasn't as crazy tense or big eventful as last week's session, but there were still some good moments that I think will have some fun repercussions going forward. Repercussion sounds ominous, not necessarily ominous, but consequences also sounds ominous. But like the ripples in the pond. That's what I'm going for. But the ripples they have put in the pond, whether they wanted to or not. And so they found a room full of old portals with whatever that might entail. So I'm very excited to see what they come up with, as they've already proven very capable at coming up with tests or effective solutions that I had not considered. Like using that book to just be like, yo, how do I open this fucking door? Never considered that might happen. So, but like, it was clever. I like rewarding good thoughts like that. So we'll see what they come up with. But we'll have to wait another week. If you guys have ideas of what to try or what you suspect might be something about the room or the portals, by all means, feel free to pop in the Discord and leave your thoughts. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you could put it in the comments. I check that too. I can convey your good or particularly bad ideas to the players. But yeah, other than that, thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna go rest and recover after a long day of harder manual labor than I've done in a while. So y'all take care, take it easy. Happy Ostara again, and welcome to spring. And stay tuned. There will be more to follow next week.